Hi everyone, it's Samantha Lux. Welcome back to my channel. Jubilee, this is getting a bit out of hand now, okay? This week, the Jubilee YouTube channel posted this video, one conservative versus 25 LGBTQ plus activists. The conservative being featured in platform this time, Michael Knowles, who, if you're unfamiliar, gave us wonderful clips such as this one.
For the good of society, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely, at every level.
Yeah, Jubilee, that's what I thought too. He seems like a great candidate for a YouTube video. In their video, he debated topics such as same-sex marriage, gender-affirming care for minors, and the prompt that we're going to be reacting to today, transgenderism should be eradicated. I want to really break down what Michael Knowles is doing in this video, okay? Pointing out the transphobic podcaster strategy. This should be fun. My name is Samantha Lux. I post new videos twice a week on my channel where I give you guys my opinion as a trans woman who studied media. So if you guys are not yet subscribed and you would like to be, go ahead and do that right now. I'll wait for you. Go ahead, let me fix my hair while you do that. Are you done? Thank you very much. Make sure to follow me over on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all those different places. I play video games live on my Twitch channel every single week. And finally, if you guys do like these videos, if you do like the work that I do here in my channel, please consider supporting that work over on Patreon. That is the very best way to support this work. But yeah, with no further ado, Jubilee, we have to talk. Okay, we're gonna skip past the first prompt and start with this one.
Transgenderism should be eradicated from public life entirely.
You know what, scratch that. I'm gonna start in a minute, but first I have to say something. Jubilee, what are you doing? Okay, I've been on a Jubilee YouTube video. I know how these things work. I mean, granted, maybe they changed some things, but they let you know the prompts beforehand, right? So I am fairly certain, if not 100% certain, that they allowed Michael Knowles to choose the claims that he was going to come in and debate in this video, and they approved them. The second that they got this claim, this prompt, transgenderism should be eradicated from public life entirely, cut the camera. Leave him on red. You don't allow him to come onto your channel after that. This conversation should not have happened. This is him calling for the eradication of a community. Like, I get it. He's the one making the claim. It's him. He's the crazy conservative, but you're the people platforming this man and saying, he's just a conservative who has, you know, a different opinion. Let's just all talk about our opinions. That's not an opinion, babe. That is not an opinion that should be allowed in fucking the public marketplace of ideas, okay? Like, especially right now when things are so heated against trans people and like our rights are literally being taken away, people are murdering us. Giving a voice to this man who is quite literally putting people on an alt-right pipeline to transphobia, you genuinely just lose all credibility as like a safe place for these discussions to happen. At a certain point, you have to say, that's not okay. We're not even going to entertain this idea because what is the idea here? Eradication of a group of people? That's insane. And he's going to go on and say, well, I'm not talking about the group of people. I'm talking about the ideology. Oh, you know what? Just roll the fucking tape.
I kind of want to know a little bit more about what you're trying to communicate.
Okay, I think for all of history everywhere, people have understood the human person to have something to do with his body. So like your body has something to do with who you are. Now there is an alternative view, which is called Gnosticism. It's a view that our bodies don't really have anything to do with who we are, that the body is maybe even evil, and that our true selves have no connection to our bodies. And I see in the transgender ideology a kind of Gnosticism. But if you feel on some deep level that you're really a woman, then you are really a woman. And I don't think that's true.
Okay, so firstly, he declares that his view, you know, that the body and the mind are one, biological essentialism, basically. He declares that as all of history or the consensus of all of time. That's just not true. And you know what? If anybody ever tries to convince you that there is anything out there, any topic that there was 100% consensus on, they are manipulating you. They are lying to your face. When somebody is trying to eliminate all trace of opposition, there's a troubling reason why. And like, we can dig into how that isn't the truth, but truthfully, none of it even matters because he's trying to make, one, a religious argument against being trans, which I don't care. I don't care. Freedom of religion also demands that you respect that I'm not a Christian. But also it's all seated on the basis that transgenderism is a thing, which I don't think it is. There are people who are transgender. There are people who all experience a very similar thing of gender dysphoria, whatever you want to call it. Transgenderism, the ideology, was created by conservatives like Michael Knowles to dehumanize the community, right? If you take the personhood out of what it is, being trans, if you create an ideology instead of just talking about trans people, it allows you to dehumanize that group of people. And by doing so, he can then avoid accountability when he goes on to say things like we need to eradicate transgenderism. What he means by that is we need to get rid of all trans people. We need to not allow people to be trans. But if he said that, it would be a little bit easier to see how crazy he is. So he tries to hide it behind an ideology that doesn't exist.
It's just
We're not eradicating people. You're trying to say that because it makes us look crazy.
That's what you're saying.
No, I said I want to eradicate a whole ideology of transgenderism.
But I'll give it to him. Even if it was a thing, in what world are we telling people that their bodies are evil? You are fully a Christian pusher, like a drug pusher, which like, I'm not anti-Christian. I believe in the freedom of religion here in this country, but brother, you're in a state of religious psychosis. We need to lock down on this whole, just because you feel like a girl doesn't mean you are a girl. Okay, the utility in him saying that is that he gets to then ignore the reality that millions of people all throughout time who feel the way that I feel, who have, if you want to call it gender dysphoria or, whatever you want to call it, there have been people like us feel more comfortable living as another gender. Honestly, whether these conservative motherfuckers like it or not, girl and woman are more accurate terms to describe me than boy or man. If you pointed to me in a room and said, that guy over there, that man over there, the person you're talking to wouldn't know who you're talking about. Like, these words, the same as pronouns, have social utility. And regardless of me being born with XY chromosomes, or regardless of how I lived my life for the first 15 years, those words, boy and man, don't fit. Like, at this point, you're just simply denying the reality. Not the same as a cisgender woman or somebody who was born female. I have immense respect for cis females and the struggles that they go through and the different experiences that they have. And if you asked me to be specific, I would proudly tell you that I'm a trans woman, but for all intents and purposes, I am a woman. You can say I'm not, but I am.
Because it leads to the depriving women of their legitimate rights. In some cases, it leads to rapes, notably in the last few years. And it also leads to women losing their sports competitions and their scholarships. And it's just disordered and false. And it also leads to more people adopting this identity, which leads to very high rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide. So it's bad for everyone, and it's not grounded in reality.
Oh, I don't even think you understand what you say sometimes.
Second, really quick, being trans isn't contagious. Like, it's not the flu, it's not COVID. I know you don't believe in that either, but it's just who we are. It's our soul, it's our DNA. It's something that we are, it's just who we are. You can't influence or de-influence a trans identity. Yes, he is correct that the rates of anxiety, depression, and suicidality are higher in the trans community than in the general population. But what he's not telling you, all of those rates go down and quality of life vastly improves when trans people are given access to the care that they need.
Here's the thing about me, as a Black trans woman, I am not a threat to cis women, and I think it is harmful that you are going around here spewing that rhetoric, weaponizing this rhetoric against trans people.
Weaponizing facts.
Transgenderism does not exist.
This is what they do. He loves to poke people's buttons. He loves to play off of stereotypes. He loves to play into caricatures. And that includes with the people he talks about, with the people he makes clips of. But it also includes himself. Okay, he loves to portray himself as the typical, I like reason, I like logic, when in reality, he's making arguments based off of religion and shit. Like, this is just it's not logical at all. He brings up all of the assaults on women in female bathrooms and then cites 3 from the past 5 years. But again, it brings me back to Jubilee. Like, clearly this man is not here to have a good conversation, a productive conversation. He's here to market himself and his content, which consists vastly of anti-trans content. He's making money off of advocating for our rights to be taken away and for our eradication. And Jubilee says, let's have him on. He sounds smart. He's got some good points.
What if one of your kids came out as trans? How would you
God
react
forbid.
to that?
I mean, I would obviously love my children, and I would try to do what's best for my children. And the best thing that I could do to be respectful and also to be conducive to their flourishing is to tell them the truth, which is that they're not really girls.
I'm super logical. I'm super factual. I only listen to the truth. If you want the truth of the matter, you should listen to the experts and the people who have lived this experience for their entire life, because I think that they likely know a little bit more about the truth of the matter than you, a conservative podcaster and cigar salesman. Smoke another one. I truly pray that his kids do not turn out to be trans, not for his sake, but for their own, because he's very clearly misunderstanding that he does not get a choice. He does not get a choice in whether or not his kid is trans. And there have been many studies on conversion therapy, which is what Michael is suggesting. And there's not only no evidence that it works, but there is evidence that it's actually harmful to LGBT people. So, babe, That's child abuse.
Loudoun County, 2021, the big case that actually ended up flipping the state was because there was a boy who wore a skirt, went into the girl's bathroom and raped a girl in a particularly hideous way. And do you know what happened? Hold on, don't cut me off. You said you wouldn't.
A cis boy. It was not a trans woman.
Okay, so like I said, he brings up the 3 trans rape cases where men, went into female bathrooms and assaulted women under the guise of being a trans woman. I'll give it to them. Maybe there are 5, 10, 15 trans women going into female bathrooms and assaulting women. But you know what happens? You know what happens to people who go into the female bathroom and assault people? You know what happened to the 3 cases that he's talking about in this video? They were prosecuted. The cases that he's bringing up are actually proving why we don't need any more anti-trans bathroom bills. They use these random cases so that they can paint a picture of trans people being violent and predatory so that they can justify them saying we need to eradicate all trans people, blah, blah, blah. And so that's why whenever anybody's like, see, if you just left the bathroom case alone, or if you just left the trans sports case alone and just let them have it, then you'd be fine and this wouldn't be happening to you. And I don't think that's true. You know, I really don't. I just don't believe it, because before the wave of anti-transness that came at us as, you know, the civil rights movement was moving towards us, before that, trans people were living their lives, playing sports, going in female bathrooms, and none of you were any the wiser. Trans women were peeing next to women in bathrooms, and like today, there were little to no problems. Trans people have been allowed to compete in sports after, you know, HRT and stuff for decades now, and we are only just now hearing about the wave of female trophies that are being stolen by trans people because they need something to latch onto to justify their eradication of us. These are manufactured crises that were fabricated to stop the progress of trans rights. Because yeah, you know what? God forbid trans people no longer want to have to live in the dark. God forbid we fight for anti-discrimination laws so that we can hold a job so that we don't have to do sex work to survive. And God forbid we fight for access to healthcare that cis people are getting, by the way, so that we no longer have to go and find the drugs that we need on the black market.
Bathroom, a boy, but not a trans woman.
Well, there's no such thing as a trans woman.
Oh, yes, it is. You're looking at one right now.
I'm looking at.
You're looking at me
I'm
right
looking
now.
at a
lived experience.
I'm looking
with
at a
lived experience. You are looking at a trans woman who has been transitioning for over 20 years, who has lived experience.
Yes.
You're talking to an activist here.
But your identity is not grounded in reality.
You're talking to somebody that's extreme. Oh, I am reality.
I'm not really talking to any.
He's loving it because it feeds into exactly his plan for this debate. Push people's buttons, get an emotional reaction, and then pose yourself as the calm and collected guy who just stating facts, babe. He's just stating facts. He goes, you're confused. Your identity is not grounded in reality. Babe, you're a cigar salesman. If you knew about the amount of, you know, therapy visits that trans people have to go to determine that they are grounded in reality, that they know what they're talking about, that they know what they're feeling before they're allowed to access intervention, then maybe he wouldn't be saying these things. But like I said, he's just here to promote his YouTube channel and, you know, be a pusher. Also, I've held out on saying this for so long, but I don't even care anymore. This switch up from, you know, gay porn actor to a conservative podcast host is crazy. It's truly got to be studied. Actually, no, it doesn't. You're not fooling anyone. He later in the video says that his plan to eradicate transgenderism is to tell trans people that they are not really trans. Good luck. You know what? I don't even want to watch this video anymore. Jubilee, what are you doing? My thing that I want to conclude this video with, stop going on Jubilee. Don't give them your face. Don't give them your voice. Don't give these conservative podcast hosts your emotional reactions. Jubilee, Michael Knowles, and the people like him are allowing the trans community to be abused for money. Jubilee actually reached out to me a couple months ago to be in a surrounded episode like this. It was going to be one detransitioner versus 25 trans people all around. I literally said to them, I was like, no, thank you. Also, don't make this video. I really feel like they used to be such a great platform that really genuinely cared about finding middle ground and like having productive conversations between two opposing like sides. But it's gotten to this point where it's just like rage bait. It's gotten to this point where they are platforming some of the most vile, hateful people for views and for clicks. And they are substantially reinforcing these echo chambers that, you know, have us all so divided. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, I'm really disappointed in Jubilee. We need to stop platforming people like this. We need to stop entertaining people that say things like this and treating these ideas and these propositions like they have any sort of merit or value to them. This is hate speech. It's not grounded in reality. He doesn't even believe what he's saying. And as viewers, you honestly deserve more responsible discussions. That is pretty much it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the little thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any videos here on my channel. And yeah, other than that, I think I'm gonna go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.